does Georgia State's plan to improve faculty diversity raise concerns for staff and students?
And the Georgia State football team makes history with the victory over the University of Tennessee. All that and more on Panther Report News.
Hello, and welcome to Panther Report News. I'm Cheri Pruitt.
And I'm Ashton Gates.
Hurricane Dorian is weighing heavy on everyone's heart. It started in the Atlantic Ocean and made landfall in the Bahamas, leaving an estimated $7 billion worth of destruction behind.
The hurricane has made its way to the U.S., passed through the coast of Georgia, and is now impacting the Carolinas. The storm is causing rapid winds, rain, and power outages along the Outer Banks.
Well, good news is Atlanta is welcoming evacuees with open arms. Many organizations are offering care packages and places to stay for people who are affected by the storm.
Yes, Atlanta Motor Speedway is opening up its facility for evacuees to stay until the hurricane passes. Panther Report's Tyrik Wynn has more on this act of kindness.
Atlanta Motor Speedway is giving back to the community by inviting Hurricane Dorian victims to stay at the Speedway while the storm passes through parts of the East Coast. Vice President of Marketing Dustin Bixby says they are happy they can help out the evacuees.
It's something that we just feel is the right thing to do. If we were in the same situation, we'd want somebody to be able to do the same type of thing, which is give us a place to go if we were in a time of need, and that's exactly what we've done for these folks, these campers that have been able to come out and take advantage of all the space that we have that we use during our NASCAR race weekend on a regular basis.
Milton Coleman traveled to Atlanta from Clermont, Florida, and says his family took caution after their experience with previous hurricanes.
Well, we went through the last hurricane and took most of our roof off, and we had to get a new roof put on, so that's why when they said it was a Class 5, time to get out of town. We don't want to go through that again. We were there when the roof was almost blown off, so we don't want to go through that.
Evacuees like Patricia Barber says they can't thank Atlanta Motor Speedway enough for allowing them to stay until the storm passes.
I thank them for letting us camp here, and they've been very, very nice, and people come around and pass snacks and water and things like that. They're very, very gracious to them.
Not only is Atlanta Motor Speedway allowing evacuees to come stay for a few nights, they are also allowing them to get free Speedway tours.
We open our grandstand, just let them come in and check it out for free. So, just whatever you would think is Southern hospitality is what we've sort of offered these folks that have come to Atlanta Motor Speedway in this time of need.
Joanne and Al Ritter hope everyone will be safe during Hurricane Dorian and hopes that the storm will go in the opposite direction.
We hope that everyone is fine and that Dorian keeps veering out to sea, and that we don't have happen here what happened in the Bahamas.
Tyrik Wynn, Panther Report News.
Panthers, you can be a part of the help too. The Caribza and the Delta Sigma Pi fraternity students are taking initiative. Both are collecting relief items for the victims of Hurricane Dorian. The collection bin is located in the Civic Engagement Office in Student Center East.
The university is also giving evacuees an opportunity to get their minds off the devastation. The athletic department is offering free tickets for refugees to attend our first home game against Furman this Saturday. And Panther Report sends well wishes for all those who are affected by Hurricane Dorian.
The Commission for the Next Generation of Faculty presented a report about raising faculty diversity.
The report covers suggestions like making their plan a priority, investing resources for a new center and scholarship, and also using data-informed analytics to address trends. They proposed 3 initiatives to move this forward, but this raised concerns with faculty and students.
I've been in this space for a little while doing things around faculty hiring and diversity, and one of the things we often find is that compulsory diversity training actually has the opposite effect of what you want in terms of diversifying a group or organization. So I'm just curious to hear what the ideas are to get people to voluntarily become a part of this initiative.
What I would say is we need to train people to understand that racism and sexism doesn't mean intentional acts. It's a framework of reference, of implicit bias, of how we automatically think about things in ways that don't even trigger our awareness that we're being inequitable.
Georgia State President Mark Becker addresses them.
Yeah, the whole reason we do this is to have those conversations. I think Provost Hensel must have said it a dozen times, if not many dozen times. It has to start with this conversation. You know, we can't move forward without the conversation. So today is the beginning, by no means the end. We're just getting started. Very excited to look where the university will go with this.
The University System of Georgia held a forum this Tuesday to discuss their strategic plan for the next 5 years. Reporter Keelin Berrian has more about their goals.
The University System of Georgia held a meeting in Georgia State University's Speaker Auditorium on Tuesday morning, discussing plans for improving education within Georgia schools.
Of course, we carry with us into the strategic plan our USG top priorities.
Angie Bell, head of the Division of Research and Policy Analysis, discussed her 4 goals improving education.
Goal 1, student success.
She continues to explain her remaining 3 goals. After introducing each goal, she allows students and faculty members to express their opinions.
It would really be fantastic to have those students learning those career-based competency skills. I think this goal is really an opportunity to interrupt the intergenerational cycle of poverty.
I spoke with the Student Government Association presidents from 2 different universities about performance differences from urban and rural areas.
I also think it's important that communities are being implemented into their goal as well. Especially at Georgia State, we are a very urban campus. The Atlanta campus is a very urban campus. So I feel it's very important that as Georgia State, the Atlanta campus and all the perimeter campuses as well expand, we are also taking into account our communities that we surround and making sure that we're helping them out as well instead of just taking over their spaces.
I do feel in certain ways that it will take a little bit more time compared to the, say, more urban schools to get to a certain level of degree, but I definitely feel like over time we will get to that certain level to basically even out the amount of resources that is with that.
The university system plan is being presented this month, and if approved, will take effect on January of 2020. Keelin Berrian with Panther Report News.
The Jean Beer Blumenfeld Center for Ethics held a discussion on media ethics this Tuesday. Panelists spoke about the removal of the Signal's summer magazine, The Urbanite, from new student orientation bags, which raised concerns over Georgia State administration. Editor-in-chief of the student newspaper, Daniel Veritek, said the conversation should include the administration's way of handling the situation.
My primary concern with this entire matter is that I was lied to, and then when I finally got the chance to sit down with the key decision maker, I didn't even get a straight answer. It wasn't, I pulled this magazine because of this article. It was a lot of, well, parents are going to see this, and we don't want to scare students, and we don't think that this is. There was concern about ethical journalism in there as well, but I never got a straight answer.
We turn now to Dominic Choroski for Primetime. Dominic, what's the latest on Georgia State sports?
Thanks, Cheri. How's it going, Panther fans? I'm Dominic Choroski, and welcome to Primetime. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. Georgia State went to Neyland Stadium and stunned the Tennessee Vols. Yes, that's right. The Georgia State Panthers, the same team that went 2-10 last season, beat a SEC team on their home field. But we'll get into more details later. Now, this was a very successful week for the Panthers, and not just because of the upset, #upset, but for the rest of GSU as well. All in all, the Panthers sports teams went 7-1 this week. A great showing for the men's and women's soccer team. After allowing 11 goals in their first 2 games, the Lady Panthers bounced back to beat Davidson 2-1 and Alabama A&M 5-0. The men's team looks to continue their Sun Belt dominance from last season into this one by picking up 2 wins in their first 2 games, one against Presbyterian College, the other against Belmont. The GSU volleyball team is off to a rather hot start, picking up back-to-back wins after falling to Western Carolina in their home opener. Now, I promised you all that we would get into the Tennessee game, and that's exactly what we are going to do. By now, everyone has heard Georgia State went to Neyland Stadium to hand Tennessee their first home opener loss since 1983. The Panthers picked up the W and a quick $950,000 check while they were there. But here, we're going to get into how exactly the Panthers knocked off a 6-time national championship winning program. Let's first look at the play during this end of the second quarter. Wide receiver Terrence Dixon, number 27, is in motion across the field behind the quarterback. Now you can see the safety here doesn't move across the field with him. That means they're in zone coverage. If it were man-to-man, the safety would have moved with Dixon. As we keep the play going, we can see the corner is beat off the ball, but he's expecting safety help. That same safety is actually moving down to cover this receiver, leaving the receiver to run right up the seam, and Dan Ellington throws a dime. All of that happens because this safety doesn't shift over, leaving the middle of the field wide open. The next play we're going to look at is the reverse that came right at the beginning of the second half. The Panthers' success throwing the ball for large chunks of yards is actually what set up this reverse, as well as their ability to run the ball with Page, Barnett, and Ellington. The design of the play is to fake a run to the right with Barnett and then reverse the ball across the field with Devin Gentry. Now you can see the two linebackers here have already bit on the fake and moved to the right. However, the main issue is the defensive end here. Now watch as lineman Hunter Atkinson gets off the block and takes this player out of the question. As well, you can see Shamarius Gilmore block this linebacker and force him out of the play as well. While the hurdle and the speed across the field is worth praise, it is the effort of the lineman that makes for the success of this play. Now we have one more play that we're going to dissect, which came right after the reverse. You can see Jonathan Affetti here move across the field, and as he does this, the defense is shifting to their left as well. Now, this is a play-action pass that the Panthers run quite often. The goal is to get this player here to hesitate just for a second, and you can see that he only takes about 2 steps. But by that time, tight end Aubrey Payne is already out into the flat and he's wide open. This play only works if the cornerback falls for the fake, and in doing so is taken out of the flat, and the play action making this player move further inside the box. All of that leads to a quick throw before the linebacker can react, and Payne is in the end zone. Now, according to ESPN FPI, that was the 4th biggest upset in college football history, and according to Sean Elliott, it was no fluke. Georgia State went into Neyland with a game plan. Let's actually talk to head coach Sean Elliott and see what he had to say after the game.
We were well coached. Our strength conditioning was, I thought, was outstanding. It was telling on the football field who was in better shape, and we notched a signature win for our university and our football program. It was an unbelievable day. I'm so proud of our guys and our players because ultimately they worked so hard to do the things necessary to put us in a position to even go and compete.
A look at what's up next for GSU. The Panthers will look to carry this momentum into this weekend as they play Furman Saturday at 7 p.m. Next week, both soccer teams will be busy as the men aim to continue their 2-game winning streak against UNC Asheville and North Florida, and the women will take on Chattanooga and UAB. For the full list of upcoming games and matches, be sure to keep an eye on our social media at GSUPRN. That's all we have time for here on Rocky Top, Primetime. Look forward to more highlights and analysis from us next week. Back to you, Ashton.
Thanks for the update, Dominic. Quick reminder, Panthers, if you are expected to graduate in spring 2020, applications for graduation are due September 15th. Log into your PAWS account to apply.
It's time to get involved, Panthers. Georgia State is holding its annual student organization fair at the sports arena on September 12th. There will be over 150 student organizations in attendance.
Cheri, have you heard about this lucky Aderhold Cat?
Lucky Aderhold Cat? Aderhold the classroom building?
Yes. Some students report seeing this cat sitting in a window of the building in front of Aderhold. If spotted, the feline is believed to give students good luck on tests and passing classes.
You know what's even more crazy? Aderhold is located on Lucky Street.
It sure is. It seems like there's a lot of good fortune going around, Panthers. Keep an eye out for the Aderhold Cat.
I know I will. Well, that's our show.
Make sure you stay connected to Panther Report news throughout the week, and be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at GSUPRN.
Also, subscribe down below and let us know what you think about this week's show and if you've ever seen that Aderhold Cat.
I'm Ashton Gates.
And I'm Cheri Pruitt, and we'll see you next week.